In this video, I will show you all 5 players in a full lineup for the single game slate on FanDuel tonight as the Ravens fight to reclaim their throne in the AFC North and the Patriots attempt to keep their playoff hopes alive as the 3rd place team in the AFC East. My name's Quick Pick Nick, and having calculated every available player's projection and relative value, here are your locks and lotteries for Sunday night, November 15th, 2020. If you like this kind of fast-paced calculated content, subscribe and stay tuned for more lineups throughout the season, including coverage on Monday Night Football for DraftKings going live tomorrow morning. To start off this lineup, the first 2 picks really weren't that difficult, as these 2 players are projected to end the night with significantly more fantasy points than any other option by a large margin. These 2 locks are the 2 quarterbacks tonight, 2019 MVP Lamar Jackson and 2015 MVP Cam Newton. It's pretty clear just from these 2 quarterbacks' average fantasy output that they are leagues ahead of anybody else offered in this slate. As compared to their fantasy points per game around 20, nobody else even managed double digits for their average fantasy points per game. Even against tougher defenses, both of these quarterbacks have been able to perform. Over the past 2 weeks against Pittsburgh and Indianapolis, Jackson was able to score around 17 and 19 points respectively. And for Newton, he was able to score almost 20 fantasy points a few weeks ago versus Denver's 3rd-ranked defense against quarterbacks. Neither Baltimore nor New England should prove to be an insurmountable challenge for either quarterback, meaning we will likely be able to expect at least mid-10s range for both players, if not more. The main question here, though, is which one will be our MVP for the night. According to my projections, Lamar Jackson is primed to have the better night overall, but not by any significant difference from Newton. Looking at it from a statistical standpoint, the Ravens and Patriots both have pretty tough pass defenses, but when it comes to pressure in the center and collapsing the pocket, the Ravens are far more effective, ranking 8th in the league in rush yards allowed per game compared to the Patriots defense's placement in 25th. This information might seem irrelevant in determining a quarterback's positioning, but for Lamar Jackson and Cam Newton, 2 of the most mobile quarterbacks in the NFL who are almost the founding fathers of this athletic style quarterback, the rush yards they can manage on their own will certainly play a role in their fantasy performances, and with New England's weaker rush defense, Jackson gets the edge as our lock at MVP. Again, both of these players are primed for big nights, so either could be your MVP, but it seems as if Jackson has a clearer path to success facing a weaker defense. Following our 2 locks, one player I would consider a conditional lock is Rex Burkhead. What I mean by conditional is that if Damian Harris is active for the Patriots, Burkhead will obviously see less time with the ball, affecting his productivity. But if Harris ends up sidelined tonight, Burkhead is a definite lock for this lineup. Without Harris, Burkhead is likely to act as New England's running back 1 and the go-to guy for most of their standard run plays across the field. Any player seeing this type of volume would be an absolute steal for just $10,000 on FanDuel for a single game slate, meaning if Harris is out, Burkhead is in. Even if Harris manages to suit up though, I would consider keeping Burkhead around anyways, as last week against the Jets, Burkhead carried the ball 12 times and recorded over 14 fantasy points, all while sharing the backfield. So it's clear that Burkhead can still put out good numbers as a change of pace back alongside Harris, it's just he will be able to have even bigger numbers as New England's main option. Following our 2.5 locks, the 2 lotteries my model found are Willie Snead and Nick Folk. We have to go cheap here since we spent so much on Jackson and Newton, which isn't a bad thing because they are both entirely worth their costs, but these couple of players might still be able to score high single-digit points. As the 3rd targeted option on the Ravens behind Mark Andrews and Marquise Brown, Snead doesn't have a very high ceiling with his typically low volume. However, Snead still does see some action, as he has been able to catch 4 or more passes in each of his past 2 contests, with over 100 yards in one of them. That kind of 100-yard production is unlikely to be repeated for a background player in Baltimore, but for just $8,000, those 4 or 5 receptions are really all we need to justify his price. With the remaining budget, we're able to pick up Folk, who will likely prove invaluable due to both teams' very strong red zone defenses. Speaking of which, if Harris is in fact active tonight and you don't feel so comfortable about Burkhead, you can downgrade him to Justin Tucker, who will probably see a lot of usage tonight for the same reason as Folk, seeing that both Baltimore and New England have good goal-to-go defenses. If Harris is out and Burkhead is in, though, I'll be sticking with the former lineup. That's what my model was able to come up with for the Sunday Night Football single game slate on FanDuel for this November 15th, 2020. This has been Quick Pick Nick, the intersection for sports, data analysis, and speed. Thanks for watching.